Hey, what up, lovely people? Welcome to Smash Radio. I am DJ Sir Thurl.
What it do, Miss Pooh?
And I am the president of the culture,
Face.
the one and only Boogie D. What up?
President of the culture.
Lovely
That's what I
people.
am.
So, man, I was hanging out this week with my homie Finster.
In the streets.
You know, in the streets.
Shout out to
That's
Finster.
what I do. You know, I'm a guy. I be in the streets.
He's a
you know
street
what I'm saying?
guy.
So, and
Finster
I ran
was
into
He's got
this.
protecting them
credibility.
streets.
I ran to this guy, man, and his name is Jaylien, and I found out he from the STL.
Okay.
And it was like an discovered talent. This dude been
bars.
This dude been doing things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Recording
like,
with some big name artists.
Yes.
Like
big
give
name
us some of the names
artists.
like
I'm talking
Akon.
Akon, Will.i.am. He said did something with Britney Spears. He
Spears.
named some more
Did
stuff.
he smash Britney? I gotta know.
Hey, we gonna find out. We gonna
Is this the
find
Kevin
out.
Fellonon era when she was with
Kevin
I
who?
don't know, man. You
Kevin
asking me.
Fellonon. He was married to Britney.
I'm just making sure.
Catch up. I thought you
No,
knew
I'm
something
talking
about
about
the
the name. You
culture.
said Fellonon.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so now
Fellonon.
he been in New York, Atlanta. Now he live in L.A. So
Okay.
I was like, come on in on the podcast, dog. Let us holler at you.
Wait a
Let's
minute.
pick
So hold
your
up.
brain.
Before we talk to this guy, you saying he did all this and he's from St. Louis?
Yeah.
That's the first time we even hearing about him?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to address that.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
stay
Introduce
fast.
our guest, Sir Thurl.
All right, man. I want to bring to y'all, man. It's the homie. Just met him, but he the homie. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get it in. He remember me. He talking about. I remember growing. You remind me of my childhood. I'm like, nah,
You
bro.
are kinda
Hold
old.
up. Slow down. Slow down, dog.
You're OG.
But this the homie
triple.
Jaylien. What's up, boy?
Man, what's happening,
Hey,
man?
Jaylien, how are you?
Thank you for having
I'm just
me,
going to
man.
say Jay because I don't want to butcher your name because I butcher everybody's name. So I'll
Hey,
just
Jay
say,
is
what up,
fine.
Jay?
Jay is fine.
All right. So do you
definitely
consider
does
yourself a
butcher.
super producer? Are you an artist? What do you classify yourself? Are you just a musician? Artiste?
I'm just a creative, man. I do all things, man. I do a lot of stuff. So like, I don't want to pigeonhole myself, but I'm definitely all those things in one
Okay.
person. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so how did you start this incredible musical journey from the STL and we just finding out about you?
You know what's crazy, man? I've been trying to come up to this station for years, for like at least like 10 years. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know how to get in touch with y'all.
Okay.
So that's.
You ain't called a request line?
You know, I didn't. You know,
We do have an open music meeting every third Thursday of the month with Princess Storm and DJ Chris.
Like,
You
I
know-
want to hear that.
You know, it's funny. I went to high school with Chris Style. He was like, cool.
So wait, if you went
Wait a
to
minute.
with Smokey, how did you just reach out to Smokey and be like, "Yo, Smoke"?
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I did. I talked to him a couple times, and I don't know, it just never came through. We were talking. I'm like, yo, man, I want to come to the station.
Because he smokes and he forgets.
He
Yeah,
forgot.
he
He
definitely
forgot.
does.
Because you talked to Chris, he said,
It
"You
faded
showing
away.
up right? We did, y'all."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, dang, it's
All right,
years
well,
from now.
all right. But how did you go from? Did you leave the STL? How did this start for you?
So what happened was, a month after high school graduation, I went to McClure North. I moved.
Hey.
Yeah.
Now I went to the regular McClure, but same thing.
McClure was cool. Yeah.
Both of them whack, but okay.
Oh man.
I went to Martin Van Buren High School down
Comment, I will
Hillside Avenue in
shoot
Queens.
boom on your-
Shout out to the bees.
Oh man. Shout out to your high school.
Where?
So I moved.
Just playing.
I moved to New York a month after high school graduation. I went to music school out there, and I was just out there just grinding. You know, MySpace. It wasn't no Instagram, Twitter, and all that.
Did you say MySpace?
MySpace.
Yeah, I was MySpace.
So that's you
thugging.
just time dated where we're going. So
Yeah,
this
man.
is like Black Planet was still the hookup site for black people.
Yep.
Yeah.
MySpace.
Black Planet was phasing out, so there was MySpace.
Okay.
And I just found out about Facebook, but I was like big on MySpace. I was
What
just,
school did you go to in New York?
I went to this school called SAE Institute. It was
Okay.
an audio engineering school.
All right.
Yeah. So I went there, found about it online. My mom found it for me, and I applied, got accepted, and I went. Drove. I found out I had an aunt in Connecticut because I couldn't afford to live out there, so I had an aunt in Connecticut.
So you had to use her.
I had to.
So you didn't
you
know
had just
you didn't
found
know
out
this
about
aunt,
her?
but you ended up shacking on her couch.
I didn't know her. The first time I met her was when I moved in. So she was nice though. She was like real.
Let's break this down for everybody listening or watching the Smash Radio podcast has never been to New York. New York and Connecticut are right next to each other, but that's really not that close.
Yeah.
So you were staying in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Where was the school? What borough was the school in?
It was in Manhattan.
That's
On
a drive.
Broadway.
So that's pretty much what your commute. Were you
My
doing it by
commute was-
train or were you
Nah,
driving?
I drove my car out there.
So you were commuting every day. So that's about 2 hours
Yeah.
each way.
Yeah.
Every
Ju-
day?
Every
day.
day. And that could be fluctuating with traffic. So that could be 3 plus.
Yeah.
Every day.
Especially
to go to
getting
this school.
into the like New York area.
Especially coming into Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's
depending
amazing.
what tunnel
You was
or bridge you
committed
come
to
in
school. That's
off of.
amazing.
Yeah, that I want people to understand like that wasn't no easy feat. Especially saying you're going back to Connecticut every day.
Oh, I used to walk 15 miles to school looking at
Right.
Okay, so you went
Applaud
to
you
you went to
though, for
recording.
real.
You went to recording school.
I went to recording school.
So you got the bug.
But what
Okay.
happened was I only applied to that recording school as an excuse to get to New York because I wanted to be a producer. I knew I wasn't going to put all my energy into the school. So when I got
2
there,
hour drive.
yeah, well, I just wanted to be like in the midst of like
Yeah.
where it was happening. I know St. Louis it was going to be harder for me to make it to where I was trying to get to. So I kind of used that school as an excuse to get to New York, and I was just thugging on the internet and just meeting people. I would hit up A&Rs from on their MySpace pages and then like find out where the offices were and then go down to the offices after school and like wait to see if I saw them. I had their pictures printed out on paper, and I would just like look for A&Rs and look for like the
You
president.
did all that, but you couldn't do that to come up to Hot 104.1 and you know Smokey
feel
Crystal.
like it.
I'm just listening to that like,
Right.
damn, you could have been outside Olive.
He didn't want you to feel that
I
special.
actually did come to this lobby a couple times and wait to see one of y'all.
Mama Jackie cussed you out, didn't she?
Nah. Somebody would be like, "Who are you here for?" And I'm like, "I'm here to see the people at the radio." They'd be like, "Oh man, you got an appointment or something?" And I'd be like, "Nah." And they'd be like, "Oh, you gotta get out of here." Like, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that a couple
We
times.
carry up here.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep
Face.
going.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So I did that, and I was just hustling, man. And then I finally linked up with some people, some producers that were producing for like 50 Cent and G Unit and stuff. They did like Window Shopper for 50 Cent and Disco Inferno, and they took me in and let me like just sit in on sessions and stuff like that. And I learned a lot from them. I realized I wasn't as dope as I thought I was, and they like schooled me on like how to really produce records and make stuff. And then I got to sit in on some Ryan Leslie sessions as well, and I learned a lot from him, and just watching his YouTube videos, I was already a fan and stuff. So between those two people, and then I met Brian Michael Cox out there, and he got me with CSAC, and he was like, "Man, you need to come to Atlanta. You need to come to Atlanta." I was like, "Oh man, I can't afford that right now. I'm out here in NY thugging." But New York didn't go as I thought it was gonna go. My mom found out I wasn't really going to school like that.
I mean, them grades.
My grades.
Them grades.
Yeah, I was
Right.
just internet and studio thugging and stuff like that. I thought I was gonna get rich. I didn't get rich. I had a baby, and so I had to man up and accept my responsibility and come home.
So you came back to St. Louis.
Came back to St. Louis.
Okay.
So I'm in St. Louis. I got my daughter here. She's like 1.5 or something like that, and I was working at McDonald's and FedEx, and I was stressed out because I was like, man, I was just in the studio with Fabulous and 50 Cent and all these different people, and I was close, but I didn't get there. I was like, man, I know if I can do that just from thugging on the internet, I know I ain't supposed to stop. So I spent that whole year I was in St. Louis plotting. I had to get back like to my dream, and I don't know. I went to church. I go to Faith Miracle Temple out here in St. Louis, and I went to church on a New Year's Eve watch service, and they were talking about, the pastor was talking about like, yo, don't let nothing hold you back from your dreams. If you got a dream to go somewhere, go. Don't let nothing stop you. Don't use money as an excuse. If you believe God will give you the money, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, man, he's talking to me. So I started praying. I started praying. And all I could hear in my heart was Atlanta, Atlanta, Atlanta. So I was like, you know, when I left that service, I went with my best friend at the time. And I was like, yo, I think God told me to move to Atlanta, man. I think I'm going to do it. And he's like, really? Yeah. He's like, I feel the same thing. And he did music as well. He was a aspiring singer at that time. So I was like, yo, let's move to Atlanta together. Let's just make it easier for each other. So we just saved all our little money we had. Yep. We saved all our little money we had, and we that was January 1st. We had our apartment by February 1st in Atlanta. And so we moved to Atlanta.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So we moved to Atlanta, and out there in Atlanta is where I started using my MySpace hustle again. I was hitting up people because I knew a lot of people from MySpace. I had a lot of friends on there, and
I mean, but he has connects from New
Right.
York, so that was able to help you out in the A.
Yeah.
So when you got to the A, that was a little easier.
It was a little easier. But, you know, I still haven't met anybody face to face, and I was still like a young buck. I was just like 19, 20 years old, and everybody was looking at me like a child. You know, like I think most people that I was trying to hook up with were like in their early 30s, and they were just like starting to pop and stuff like that. And so I would link with people, and then they'd be like, man, you dope. Yeah, I'm going to help you out. And then I would never get that help. And I would try to link with songwriters. I would try to link with artists, and it just was like everything kept falling through. And I was just like, man, you know what? I'm going to stop waiting on people. I'm going to start doing this myself. So I couldn't get people to write to my beats, so I started writing to my beats. And then I found out it wasn't as hard as I thought it was. And then I couldn't get demo singers to sing to my beats. So I started singing on my own beats and just making songs. And then once I did that, I just didn't leave my room. I stayed in my room. I was making like Kanye said, 5 beats a day for 3 summers. Like I was in there making beats, writing songs, recording songs, like for like the whole 2008 summer. You know what I'm saying? And,
let's fast forward a little bit though.
Yeah.
Like when did it really change for you?
See, what happened was, so I'm writing songs in my room in Atlanta. I can't get studio sessions with people, but I know a lot of people. They know me because I was harassing them on MySpace. And
this MySpace, dog.
yeah, man, no, I was hustling.
MySpace was big back then. That was a big connect back then.
And so,
Really was.
I'm dating this girl. Not dating this girl. Me and her having adult relations. And
You smashing.
You smashing.
Did you
on our
say
podcast,
dope
homie.
relations?
Yeah, I mean, he did say he went out there and grew up a
I
little
thought he
bit.
said dope relations.
nah, we was having adult relations.
Adult relations. Hey,
And
turn up.
she would leave my house in weird times of the night and come in weird times of the night. And I was like, yo, where are you coming from at 3 o'clock in the morning? Why you come here so late? Or like, we'd be chilling at my house and then she would leave at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, where are you going at 5 o'clock in the morning?
What is you doing?
Right. She's like, I'm going to my sister's house. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I start getting weary about it like after like the 6th time. I asked my homie, I'm like, yo, where you think she going at night? When she,
So what pole
Sound like
was
you
she
was in
riding?
love.
Was she stripping?
yeah, she was doing something else.
You was in Lil Jaylien.
I mean,
I
you can
wasn't
say
in
it.
love.
You can say it. I mean,
Like, on
like,
the podcast, homie. What up?
And ain't no censors on here?
no.
Hell
Bring it.
no.
Okay. Yeah, she was fucking with some niggas. So, so I lived in Atlantic Station. He lived in the 12 Hotel. She told me that's where her sister lived at. So I would walk. One day I was like, I'm gonna follow her and see where she really going.
Yeah, you was in love.
So,
You returned. You returned. All right.
follow that pool.
so I followed
The
the
breadcrumbs. The
I followed her.
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, man.
Dum, 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 dum,
I
dum,
followed
dum,
her. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. She got up. She's like, I gotta go. I'm like, all right, cool. And I acted like I was asleep. And then once she left my
Looking
house, I
ass.
like
Rolled
followed
over,
her.
put on your hoodie and
Yeah,
shit.
put over. I had an all black hoodie and everything. I took my hoodie on. I followed her. I followed her up to the condo building, and then off comes a dude off the elevator, and then it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I know that's him coming to get her. And then he like kisses her on the cheek and like grabs her booty, and I'm like, dang.
Damn, heart straight was
Yeah.
Now,
broke.
was he somebody famous?
No, he wasn't famous yet, but
Yet.
So
Your
anyway,
heart
Whoa,
dropped.
whoa. We can't stop right here. It's a good part of the podcast right here. What do you
Yeah.
mean yet? Sports, acting,
entertainment, music.
music.
Yeah.
Somebody we all know
Damn.
now.
He looked like
You
somebody.
might know him now, yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
are y'all cool?
We cool, yeah, that's my G.
So does he know
Damn, that's your
about
G.
this story?
I don't know if he know the deep details like that.
Okay, well,
But she was just like a little
all right,
like
then what's his name?
his name is Booh, his Akon brother. So
Okay.
yeah, so they met there or whatever.
So she was smashing.
She was matching him. So I was like, damn, and I didn't know Akon had a brother, so I was like, damn, she cheating on me with Akon. I can't compete with that.
Oh, because he looked just like him type
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I was like, I can't compete with that. So
Hell no.
So then I was like, you know what? Who else live in this building? Like, this is kind of crazy. So the next day I went to the lobby of the hotel, and I found out there was condos too. So I would just sit in the lobby. They had a
Damn, you an
Starbucks.
investigator. Let me find out you missing your
You're
car.
low key a stalker, but good. But the thing
He
about
printed
this
out the
story,
pictures and
think about
shit.
this story though. I'm smashing
black
this
hoodie.
Joan that's cheating on me, but this Joan is actually going to get me to my dreams.
Right.
This
That's the
Joan
universe like a mug.
is going to bring me to where I want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
But I stalked her and followed her
Yeah.
to get to her. But think about
But
the
you
story.
wasn't in love, but you
I
was
wasn't
just
in love.
curious.
He
Oh,
was in-
look at how
hold
that
up.
worked out.
Fall back, Pooh. He's in love. He's broke. He in the
said he
end.
was, but-
He's
And I'm-
infatuated. That's what
No,
it
no.
was.
Think about it. So
Damn.
I'm gonna say she's probably a 10.
Yeah.
9 or
She
10.
probably bad.
Bad
in
as
my
hell.
mind, she
And-
bad.
And
she
he
is
like,
bad.
I can't even afford crystals. So I'm not trying to lose this badass ATL joint I got. So I need to pick out why is she fucking with me? I can't even get the weed right.
Right.
I'm calling her like, can you stop at Chick-fil-A?
Can you give me that 2 for 2 at McDonald's?
You know
real
what I'm
quick?
saying? So he like, damn. And then I find out damn, it ain't just me. I'm
just
like
me.
the little side hustle.
She taking back.
I'm like the
so
project.
she left you and went.
She would
Okay,
leave
all right,
me
go
and
ahead.
go there, and she
Chain,
would or leave him and then come to me.
We
So-
got that. So
yeah.
you stalked out the building.
So I stalked the building. I would see like people coming in and out the building. I would see like, you know, they had the show called The Game. I don't even know if that's on TV now, but they had the show on BT called The Game.
Oh yeah, that was the shit.
And they would film some of the
That's
scenes
where
there.
they filmed it too.
Yeah, they would film some
Yo,
of the
this
scenes.
John
You hit
hooked
the
you up.
jackpot.
Right.
This is the jackpot. You need to cut her. You need to send her a love package. Send her back. Like, yo, boo boo, I'm so happy you were cheating.
Thank
you.
With Akon,
Yeah.
brother, because
Sarah,
you laced me
cold.
Nah,
lovely.
you will see. Go, let him.
Yeah, I would see like Jazzy Faye walking in and out of there. I saw The Dream walking in there. I
You
saw
in the lobby with a
Sierra.
newspaper and shit. Like,
Nah, I'm on my laptop with my beats, with my Dr. J headphones, and I was just like be making beats and like just like sending beats off and harassing people online. So I was like, damn, this building popping. So one day I see a homie walk through the lobby, and I was like, and I look at him, I was like, man, you fucking my bitch, man. So one day he walked up to me, he's like, yo, what do you do? And I was like, I produce and I write. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, I want to hear some beats. And I was like, I can make you a CD. And he was like, all right, for sure. I ain't got time to listen to him right now, but make me a CD. And I ain't have a phone at the time, so I put my roommate's cell phone number on there. And I was like, yeah, call me if you like hear something you like or whatever. He's like, yeah, for sure, I got you. And then I looked at him one time, and I was like, yo, anybody ever told you look like Akon? And he laughed. He was like, yeah, I get that all the time. I didn't know he had a brother, so it was just like weird. So fast forward a couple days later, he called me. He's like, yo, you got a manager? And I was like, nah, I ain't got no manager. He's like, I'm gonna hook you up with somebody. I'm like, all right, cool. So then he hooked me up with another African. And then
damn.
this dude,
Another African.
Another African.
yeah, so this dude became my manager. He's like, yeah, we're closing Akon's album. You got any songs for him? I was like, well, I got this one song I made like 6 months ago that I put the convict stamp on it, and you know, I think it's hard, and you should listen to it. So I played it for him. He's like, all right, give me 24 hours. So, you know, I was like, whatever, because I'm new to Atlanta still, you know what I'm saying, and I didn't know how it really worked.
Right.
And my only placement at this time was with Huey. I did G5 with Huey and T-Pain. And so I was still trying to, like, you know, I thought that was going to change my life, and it didn't. So I was just still trying to, like, get that song. So maybe like 2-3 days later, I get a call, and it was Akon on my best friend's phone. And he's like, yo, Akon want to talk to you. I was like, what? I was like, man, whatever. So I hung up the phone. Then he calls again, and it's like, yo, it's really me. And I'm like, okay, what's good? Who is it? He's like, it's Akon. I'm like, nah. He's like, what's your address? I'm like, 268 16th Street.
He pulled up on you?
He pulled up in like a white Lamborghini, white Rolls Royce, and like
It's
another
a
white
straight
car.
movie, goddamn.
So he's like, yo, I want that song from you. And I was like, oh, that's what's up. I was like, let's do it. That's my stepdad. I'm like, well, let's do it. And then he's like, I want to buy it from you. And I was like, oh, cool. How much? I'm broke as hell. That's cool. And he's like, I want like you want like 5K? Would you take 5K? And I was like, hell yeah. And then he's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna buy it from you. And I was like, wait, does that mean I'm not gonna get my? Does that mean I'm gonna get my royalties and my publishing and my name on the thing? He's like, nah, I'm buying you the song. I'm buying the song from you. I was like, well, nah, I'm gonna keep the song then. And he was like, oh, you smart. He's like, where you from?
Nah, he was like, you broke, and you gonna keep this song?
You was gonna give him a song. So what was the song that you ended up fighting to keep?
Beautiful.
And how big did that song go for Akon?
Man, it was like I think it's his biggest selling song to date.
Wow.
It was like #1 in like 17 countries, and yeah, it was a huge song for him.
So you got a nice check.
I got a lot of nice checks.
So did you ever tell the chick the
Did
story?
you ever talk to her?
So what happened was after I got my first check.
Where she at?
So did you keep messing with her this whole time?
No, I cut her off. I got into my feelings.
Okay.
But
You was in love.
honesty.
after I got my first check, I took her shopping, man. I bought her a bag and some clothes and some heels and stuff like that, just to show my appreciation for being a hoe. And
Hey.
No, that was not a hoe. You gotta take that back. I'm sorry.
Shit.
That's not a hoe. That was the blessing of blessings. And first of all,
It was the come up.
It was
He
the
came
biggest
up.
come up. First of all, you got some ass, you got free food, and you end up getting a check, and you got your career started from one chick laced you lovely.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Did she
Lovely.
know why you taking her shopping?
not really. I was just like, I owe you this. And she was like, okay. And girls gonna be asking the questions. I was like, then I told her, I was like, after I took her, I was like, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have met the people I met. And I stalked you when you was like going to a homie house, blah blah blah. She started laughing. She thought it was funny, and she ain't asked me for nothing else after that. And I ain't really talked to her.
All
Right.
right, so from Akon, now you got a hit song. Mm-hmm. Did your phone? Now I'm sure you got a phone at this point.
I had a phone.
You got your
I got a phone.
Fish. You got an email too.
Got an email.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, how did the inbox and the call start blinging? Who started blowing up the phone?
I don't know, man. Everybody. I started working with cause obviously that was like a big pop song. urban song that crossed over. So I got I started working with Red One, who was Lady Gaga's producer and who did like all her big singles like Just Dance, Poker Face, all that stuff. So me and him started working together, and we started collabing. And I did some stuff with Quincy Jones. He released an album where he like redid all his old hits. And I got to redo Sanford and Son because he produced the whole like score for that show and stuff like that. So I did that song with Quincy Jones. It was T.I. and B.O.B. on that song, and that was a really big song. Me and Red One did that together. That was cool. And then I worked with will.i.am, Britney Spears, LL Cool J, Snoop, Chris Brown. A lot of people, man.
You're awesome.
It's crazy. I worked with a lot of people, man. It's just like, you know, it was the time just started going crazy, and I was young, and I was like with money. I was broke like all that whole time, so I was just like moving. I was traveling the world. I went on tour with Akon. He did the Usher OMG tour, and I was with him on like most of that tour, and we were just recording on the studio bus and just making songs and just, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a vibe, man. And then I finally in 2011 decided to move to LA because I feel like it was more opportunity for me out there. And that's where I met will.i.am and did that whole thing. And then I co-wrote another song called Scream and Shout, which was like another big song. And that was like #1 in like 27 countries. And that was another nice check. And then after that, I just felt like I worked with a lot of the people that I aspired to work with, except Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Coldplay and U2. And
Yeah, he got the list down like
Right.
yeah, because I still haven't worked with them yet. But I was just like, I want to do something else. So that's when I kind of started dabbling with like being an artist. And that was probably like in 2013.
Okay.
just greedy.
Yeah.
Taking all the shit.
Yeah. And I was dabbling with it. I wasn't really taking it too serious. And one of my homies was like, yo, your music's kind of dope. You should like really take it serious. And I was like, well, I'm just bored right now. I got a lot of money and stuff. I'm just chilling. I ain't really hurting right now. I don't know. I just want another creative outlet. So in the midst of that, I was like 4 videos in. I was about to start dropping my music. I had like 30 songs recorded, and I was about to like just start dropping stuff. And my homie hit me with the idea. He was like, we should create artists. Like I do the visuals, the photos, and the videos, and then you do the music. I think it'll be really dope. And I was like, you know what? That's actually kind of dope because I kind of want to get behind the scenes and like have my own artist. So we started this label. I started this label called Bless and See, and we found this girl, and I produced her. I taught her how to write a song, you know, put it together. He did her visuals, and we kind of just created this like thing. She never wanted to sing before. She'd never been in the studio before, nothing. So we kind of created her, and we put the song out. When I was here in St. Louis, for Thanksgiving with my family, and we put the song out on her called Experience. We put the video out, and we dropped the song on SoundCloud, and it just went ham from like that day. Like that night we had like Swiss Beats reach out, we had like Pharrell reach out, we had a bunch of people just reach out. I'm like, yo, she's dope, blah blah blah. So her name's Casey, and from that Thanksgiving on to like the next 4 months, it was just like a whirlwind of people just trying to sign her, people pick her up, and I was just like, man, you know, like this shit's hard. And we was about to release another song, and then Kanye called, and he was like, yo, I want to sign her. And so we flew out to New Jersey at a Yeezus show to meet with him and play her music, and he was just like, yo, I'm sold, like I wanna sign her. So we did the deal with Kanye, and she just released her album actually like 2 months ago, so her debut album. So
And what's her name?
Her name's Casey Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is on Good Music.
On Good Music. Yeah.
So one of the questions I have listening to the story, and a lot of people that's going to end up, you know, listening to this podcast or watching, are going to say, why didn't you come home and start picking talent out of here?
I just away from the city. I lived in LA, so I would only come back to just visit family. Like I use St. Louis as like an escape. You know what I'm saying? Because LA is a crazy place. So I would come back home and just be low key, be with my fam. Nobody called me Jaylien out here. Like everybody know me as John, my real name. And so, you know, I just like that vibe, just hanging with my daughter. You know, and I never really got into the scene. And then when I would try to, you know, it just seemed like hard. Like I didn't know who to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Like I just got cool with like Kevin Johnson from the newspaper, and like I just
so you went from St. Louis,
and
you have worked with some of the biggest artists, a lot of hits, and then you come back and you feel like it's starting from ground zero.
I feel like it's starting from ground zero.
Damn.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like, I just didn't know who to talk to. It's like, and then I would email people and I would Facebook people from the station or Facebook people from the news station, like, yo, I'm out here doing great things. I'm from St. Louis. I'm in town for Christmas. I would love to link, blah, blah, blah. Like, people would be like, oh, this isn't for us right now. Or people just wouldn't respond.
Quit lying. They'd be like, quit lying. We ain't never heard that.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I mean, look, you're working a lot behind the scenes. That's a very, very hard world to get into. Producing and writing, that's a very small group. That's not what people see. That's not the visuals. The stars are the visuals. So so that is kind of hard. And you talking about, I did so and so for Akon. I did so and so for Akon. And they're like, but I've never seen you on BT. I've never seen you on MTV. So did you feel some sort of way?
I always feel some type of way because I feel like still even to this day I don't get my just due and my recognition in like for what I've been able to accomplish just being a kid from St. Louis. So I just like, you know what, maybe at the same time I gotta just put more work in. So I think in like the end of 2015, the artist bug started hitting me again. Because like the artists that I got signed to Kanye, they were taking all day to put her out, and I was like, dang, this is how it is when you're on a major label. Like, then I started meeting people who also have deals, and they're frustrated with their label because they ain't came out yet, or they put out one single, and that was like 2 years ago, and the label stopped putting money into them. So I was just like, man, and I just felt like I wanted to just be recognized for more. So I was like, I'm gonna just do this because I control this 100,000%. I got my own label, I got money. I'm about to just put it into myself. So I started releasing music on SoundCloud, and I just told myself, you know what, I'm not going to stop this time. I'm not going to put another artist in front of me this time. I'm not going to take no for an answer from nobody. I'm going to just keep releasing music until something happens. So that's kind of what I did, and I just started releasing music on the internet, and then it just spread. I started using some of my connects. A lot of people didn't take me serious because they looked at me as a producer only and a writer only. You know what I'm saying? That's how they knew me for the last, like 8-9 years. So it was kind of hard to like break them out of that, you know what I'm saying?
But are you doing that now? I'm going to ask this question because a lot of people are watching it, and I'm sure people from St. Louis are going. So now are you saying I'm from St. Louis?
Yeah,
I'm a St. Louis guy.
I'm
trying to put the STL on my back, and so now St. Louis, I'm here, I'm home. I'm trying to do me, and I'm trying to open up the door for not just myself but others like me, because you understand how hard it is.
It's very hard.
And because I'm sure what you hear is the first thing you say, you from St. Louis, they go, oh, you know Nelly.
Man, that's the first thing. It don't matter where I'm at. I could be in Europe. They'd be like, yo, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from St. Louis. So you and Nelly are friends? I'm like, nah, we not.
You and Nelly are friends.
Have you and Nelly ever met?
Yeah, me and Nelly met. We worked in the studio before.
Okay.
Yeah, we met a couple times. So yeah, he's cool. I haven't like really built with him, but I got mad respect for him. I look up to him. Like, man, he's like one of my idols. So
are you going to do the project at home, or are you going to do the project bi-coastal?
I work from home.
You still battling getting into the urban market, right?
Yeah,
because he got a lot of pop, like top 40.
I like your music.
that,
I listen to Lucky Guy.
Yeah,
that's it. You would consider that pop?
No. As a writer producer, I was really pop, but as an artist, I want to like definitely I'm black, man. So
right, I love that. Like, because SZA, right?
Yeah.
And she's getting a lot of backlash for The Weeknd.
Man,
that's literally the guy version of The Weeknd.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, he's a side dude, basically.
Yeah, luckiest guy.
He rapping for y'all side pieces.
Rapping for the dude side pieces. Don't be scared to admit it. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, though. It's definitely got a nice vibe to it. Like, I could ride to it, Like, it's good music.
All right, what about Metro Boomin?
I love Metro Boomin. Never met him. Never met him, but
I wonder if his story is similar to your story.
Yeah,
as far
probably.
as leaving and then growing up. Because I think St. Louis is a little side-eye that everybody's leaving. Like, SZA's not really from here, and so-and-so's not really from here. Because it's like they didn't do it from the crib. They did it in other places.
I find, and I know a lot of artists that have tried throughout the years, and I would come back and I would like probably work with like little underground artists, stuff like that were like trying. And I just feel like in St. Louis, I feel like people don't, at least from my experience, people don't really support each other, and they would kind of hate on the next man to get over the next man and stuff like that. And it's really like in Atlanta, everybody love each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the rappers jump on each other's songs. They show like camaraderie. Like out here, I feel like it's every man for himself. And I just feel like maybe that's the vibe. And so if you really are serious about it, you kind of want to lead a city and do it, and then come back. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like even Nelly had to do that.
Well, Fenster, before we start the podcast, I said the problems that I see, because obviously being at the radio station, we get blamed for a lot.
Right.
But I say there's no business here. The music business doesn't live here, which is very hard because, as you know, being in the music business, there's a lot of things that have to be accessible.
Yeah.
That you have to have access
yep.
to for things to pop off. It's not just I made a record, now play my shit, I'm gonna blow it. It's like, man, it's a lot more than that.
Right.
You gotta, first of all, like you said, you have had writers, producers, artists willing to work with each other. You also gotta have the business of the music being in there. We're talking about lawyers, people that understand how to get placements, all that stuff. Yeah. That's what I think when I'm looking at people like yourself that's made it. I'm now saying y'all got to bring the industry back piece by piece. There's got to be a brick here, a brick there, a brick there, and soon the house will get built where there's an industry. A little bit. It doesn't have to be as big as Atlanta. It doesn't have to be big as New York. But if there's enough people that can understand digital, PR, this, that, third, I think then artists can understand that they have some accessibility, because I think what I feel like this. Nelly is a standard bearer. Right. But I think everybody that when they go somewhere, if I go back home to New York or wherever I'm at, oh, you starting Lou, so you be hanging with Nelly. I'd be like, that's the problem. The mindset outside of the 314 is that this is all that St. Louis is known for.
But that's not,
and that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
But that's
it ain't
hard.
that his fault. It's just
it's not Nelly's fault.
It's just,
but that is hard because, like, I'm at the BET Awards. So when I'm at like this year's BET Awards and I'm out there and like, yo, Boogie, you starting in St. Louis? Yeah. What's up with Nelly? Damn, that's the only person I know.
Right.
But that's a problem.
That's a
so
problem.
You have to change that perception. There's a lot more artists, like even interviewing sisters, like, yo, you from St. Louis? Yeah. But I went to Jersey. Metro Boomin. Yeah. I went to Atlanta.
So you saying,
and then other people going, I didn't know Scissor, I didn't know Metro. So a lot of people don't even know Metro Boomin is from St. Louis. Right. They ain't from Atlanta.
Right.
So what I'm saying is the perception has to change.
Right. Yeah.
Like we're just getting to meet this incredible young man who has already been around the world. How many times? How many times do you think you toured the world already? Right now?
Oh man, at least like 4 or 5. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How many international Jones smash in different countries?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. So your passport.
I
what I'm saying is his passport is like I went from broke, hungry, struggling. Passport is full. How many passports have you filled up with stamps? Like, damn, I got to get a new passport.
Yeah, 2.
That's my point.
Yeah.
From St. Louis.
But I just want to use this as an example. Like, you can, like, people always talk about it's all about the radio. It's all about the radio. It's all about the radio. But you just mentioned about 4 or 5 people that made it out of the city without using the radio. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's like he had to come back to even, to get build a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's more than one way.
That's what I'm going to my point.
Yeah, it's more than one way out of here. That's all I'm saying.
Right now, when I see people that are connected to the industry still live in St. Louis, but they have connects outside of St. Louis, I'm saying we got to start doing other things. You got to start bringing other people here. You got to, there's got to be a place where people can go. We got to have some offices. There's got to be, because that's the only way the infrastructure start. Atlanta didn't just start. Atlanta was built, and people came and flocked there. That was from New York. That was from Miami. That was from LA. That knew the industry, and they all started coming. Now Atlanta has an infrastructure. Yeah, there's no infrastructure here. We have recording studios. We have some cats that could have made it. We have some cats that did made it, and that's it.
See, that's one of my goals though, because I admire. I'm around all the kids out that's like doing it now, like the Drakes and the Big Seans and all them. And when they go back home, like they can do like huge things in the city and for the city. And it's just like it brings it makes the economy go up, and it attracts more people to the city. And now people just want to go to Toronto because they know Drake is from Toronto. Like who wanted to go to Toronto 10 years ago?
Right.
Here's something that you just made. We just had my man Los from Warner Brothers just played us 5 cats from Toronto that Drake's put on. Yeah. So to me, I'm like, we need somebody like Metro Boomin to do that. Yeah. To get a deal And everybody that's coming out is all from St. Louis. Every artist that he played, Toronto. It's by this Drake's like by design. I'm putting my city on first.
And then, but you gotta understand, Drake's larger than life. He wasn't able to do that once he first came out.
Right.
So I feel like we got to give some of these artists some time. You get what I'm saying? Because Drake can do no wrong right now, even though people not going crazy over his music like they used to. I mean, he got to a level where he really can't do no wrong, and he started being able to do that.
Yeah. No, I get it. I understand it.
Here's my other guy.
I understand that. I'm not mad at Drake.
Yeah.
But what I'm using Drake as an example is that he's got a label situation, and every artist is from his crib. He didn't go around the world. He picked, I'm going to put Toronto out first.
Exactly.
Right.
And
that's like been his mission.
Yeah, and then I'm cool after that. Because then he's basically saying is, I'm bringing the industry to Toronto. Like Jay just said, now people want to go to Toronto, not just to go to Toronto. I want to go to Toronto because I can get discovered now. Drake may find me. Right. Maybe I'll see Tory Lanez.
Right.
Yeah. That's what we're talking. If we start having more and more like-minded people like yourself, Metro Boomin, others that are all popping at the same time. You may not live here, but if everybody knows they're from St. Louis, and then putting some of that money back into resources, maybe you open up a studio. Maybe you open up, hey, I know somebody's about to be an entertainment lawyer. Let's put your office in St. Louis.
Right.
Hey, I know you know about digital marketing. Hey, let's open up an office in St. Louis. You know about PR. Let's open up. Now you got connectivity because you have to have all these little dots to come together. It's called the machine for a reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
And the machine can be built anywhere.
Yeah.
So we're putting the pressure on Jay.
No, honestly though, I want that pressure because like I feel like nobody's really like strive to like do that and bring new air and new light to the city like that. Like, and like, Metro is from here. He got so much power and he has like 10 songs on the radio right now. And I never hear him talk about St. Louis in interviews. And I love that guy. You know what I'm saying? He even put the arch in his new, like, cover art. But I would love for him to like just be more about the city.
I think he's getting there. I think he's getting there. So you got to understand.
Yeah, you see that side,
like, You've been in the industry for a while. You've done a lot of things, but you had to get to that point where you say, okay, now I'm ready to do it for my city.
Because he wants to come home and be bothered. He actually wants to get off of Lambert and somebody be like, yo. He wants that. He's saying,
and Metro
I
probably
can go
not
a lot
there
of
yet.
other places and people know me and I can go walk around. I come here, I'm just another dude walking around. And I understand that. That's a little bit ego, which I ain't mad at him for. But it's also putting a seed and says like, yo, we got a lot of dope people. Now this is the way to make it happen. And because really what I'm just saying is, it's the radio is, it ain't 1975, it ain't 85, it ain't 95, it ain't 05.
Right.
No more.
Exactly.
A lot of things is popping. If you get on Tuma's playlist on Spotify, you doing a hell of a lot better than getting on Hot 104.1. Right. But there's a way to get to Tuma.
Yep.
And there's a way that Tuma is going to put you on his playlist on Spotify, which is going to blow you up. But you got to go to maybe New York, Atlanta, LA, because there are people there to understand, let me show you how to get these numbers right. Yeah. You don't have that in St. Louis. That's where I'm going with it. You got to have the industry. So then artists can be like, now then you'll get more camaraderie because then people feel let's link up. Because it's not about if one blow. It's about if 20 of us is going and 20 of us is hot. Because if Metro does one record, he does one record. All Metro got to say, if Metro Boomin did an interview right now and all he does talk about St. Louis, you know how big the city's going to feel about that? If SZA actually said, yo, what up, St. Louis?
Right.
Now how big the city would feel about that? Two people that's got monster records right now.
Right.
Ain't lying.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the goal. I want to bring us all together, like me, Metro, Smino, SZA, whoever else is out there from St. Louis is actually out there, like doing it on a major level. I would love for us all to like just really get together and like really try to just bring more stuff to the city. I like when artists come to town, I hate that, like if 2 Chainz come to town, like you know how when they go out of town and they try to bring the city's person out or something like that, like if they go to Detroit, they're gonna bring out Big Sean or Eminem, or if they go to LA, they're gonna try to bring out YG or Ty Dolla $ign or Kendrick or somebody from the city. I hate that when they come to St. Louis and they really. They got Nelly, you know what I'm saying? And Nelly ain't doing no stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and it's not a shot. He's not taking a shot at Nelly.
Yeah, no shot at Nelly. I love Nelly. He's like my idol.
But what he's saying is that it's time for somebody else to get the look, but it could be a multitude of people right now.
Right.
Exactly.
I understand it because, hey, 2 Chainz will be here on Tuesday. DJ Cudi's opening up for that show. And you're right. Nelly baby walk out. And it's like, cool. It's like Cedric. the entertainer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you got a lot of yeah. Okay, we beat it to the point. All right, we done.
Yeah,
we cool.
So I mean, so what's next? What's next? What's coming up?
Man, just add more to the campaign, man. I got more music dropping. I got some shows coming up. I'm doing some stuff for Fashion Week in New York. I got 2 singles dropping in like 3 weeks. I got a project coming out at the end of the year, like in November. And just like, you know, spreading the wealth, man. I got cool with the people at Apple Music, the Call Cherries and all that, and the people at Spotify. I always got my stuff in playlists and all that. So it's just, you know, making more people aware of me. And I made it a point. I was like, yo, this year I really want to get in tune with the people in St. Louis and let them know like there's somebody else from St. Louis that's doing something because they don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think it's important because I would love to be able to come back here and do like, you know, coat drives and turkey drives and do stuff in the community and like, you know, I feel like it's, you know, people always say, where you from? I'm like, from St. Louis. Oh, it's dangerous there. It's scary there. Like, and I don't want people to be thinking about that when they think about St. Louis. I want them to think about the good stuff that's going on here.
But it could go down.
It definitely go down.
Oh, this dude.
Way to bring the mood down, Thurl.
Mr.
Positive.
I want you to forget. I mean, like, be smart about it.
Don't ever
Be
forget.
smart about it. Like,
Here we go.
Yeah. But I do want people to know that there's good people out here doing stuff in the community. There's people from here that actually care about the people and want to bring, you know, more things into a positive light and add to the culture and make more opportunities for people. Like I would love to do. I would, you know, like I look up to like my peers. I look up to Drake. I look up to these people, to 2 Chainz. I look up to like, you know, all these people and I see them all the time. We see each other in passing and all that. And I admire what they're doing for their cities and I want to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like do like an OVO Fest in St. Louis every year and have a celebrity basketball game and have, you know, pay for people's college tuition and do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. That would be so dope.
Yeah. So with you know, you being on the road, you dealing with a lot of these artists and got all these connections. Like you just mentioned Spotify like it's nothing. You mentioned iTunes and stuff like it's nothing. Like you got guys. I just holler at my guys.
I'm cool with the people there.
What's been the hardest, like, out of all that? Like, what's been the hardest thing to deal with?
Just to get those guys to believe in me as an artist. Because, like, I'm nobody. I'm no. If I'm you, for instance,
right,
and I want to get on the radio, and you probably got 10 people trying to get at you to try to get on the radio because they're like, yo, you the plug.
Right.
You don't know which one of them is actually special, which one of them is actually dope, or they all could be dope, or they all could be whack. But it's like you might not pay none of them no mind because then you got 20 other people trying to get at you to do the same thing. So it's like for me as an artist, it was hard for me to make people just take a listen to my music because I know once they listen to it, then they'd be like, "Oh, this is kind of dope." You know what I'm saying? And then they would maybe want to help. You know what I'm saying? It's no guarantees, but for me as an artist, it was just really hard to just get people to believe and listen and just take 2 seconds out their day to just listen to a song or watch a video or just hear me out.
So with you becoming from a producer and a writer to an actual, you know, being an artist, you know, that's not a road traveled a lot. A lot of people tried, but they don't, you know, they can't get over the hump. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, do you get that?
Getting over the hump, I feel like I would have had the hump anyway. Even if I think I had a harder hump because I was a producer and a writer first. So, but for me, I accept all challenges. I was an athlete before anything, and I just always wanted to be the best at whatever I did. I'm an artist. I draw, paint, all that stuff. So I always seek out to be like the best, and I'll take any challenge. And I told myself, like, you know, I'm not taking no for an answer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I knew that if I could do one thing, then I could do 10 things. If I can make 100,000, I know I can make 1 million. If I could get 1 yes, I can get 1 million yeses. If I could get 1 stream, I could get 10 million streams. So I was just like, you know, I'm gonna just keep going. So
so you're not for hire anymore? You just focusing on yourself.
If the check is nice, he's always for hire.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Ain't nobody trying to.
God bless you, brother.
If the check is nice,
you already know.
Let me hold on. Let me go get this check real quick.
What was your favorite place you went to outside the country?
Paris.
Oh, he said that fast.
That's my favorite place. It's a beautiful place. It went down in Paris. It's the architecture. I'm into like design. I'm into design. Architecture. I'm into women. I'm into
I'm finna say that's what I'm finna say. Yeah.
I'm into clothes. I'm into all that. So like Paris just had the best of all that. And I don't know if it's because I went during Fashion Week or something like that, but it was just a surreal vibe and the food is awesome and I'm definitely going back like every year. Yeah,
That's
Paris is great.
That's what's up.
All right, so how people get at you, man?
Man, get at me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything at Jaylien Wesley, JAYLIENWESLEY. Yeah, I'm everywhere.
SoundCloud
I'm on SoundCloud at Jaylien Wesley. I'm on Spotify at Jaylien. Apple Music, Tidal. Shout out to Tidal. They be
so
looking
why?
out.
I was saying this earlier. How I noticed. How did you switch your name to Jaylien? Because you know people say ST Alien, so they be like on some like in the stars type stuff. Is it like on that level, or you just like the flow of it?
No, what happened was I had a other producer name. Well, in basketball, they use your like first name, like letter of your first name, and like the last three or the first 3 or 4 initials or letters in your last name. So like everybody's like D Rich or like D Mile or whatever. So my basketball name, because I was a basketball player, was Jay West. Cause my name is John Wesley, and so I just used that as my producer name. Once I moved to Atlanta, I feel like I harassed too many people on MySpace, so I was like, I need to change my name so people won't know it's me. So I was like infatuated with Daft Punk and like Area 51 and like a whole bunch of alien shit.
Right. Yeah.
So I was just like, how do I infuse that with my name and try to figure it out? So I came up with Jaylien. I was just playing with the letters. Yeah.
It's not an alien. It's a Jaylien.
Right. No.
Yeah. Don't do that again. Don't do that again.
Don't ever do that again.
Please, God, don't ever do that. I can't even get that out of my brain now.
I had a Miss Pooh moment. My
right,
bad.
well, you know what? Text or you can send me some music. I love to hear it. You know, if I don't like it, I'll let you know.
I love that.
Word.
But don't get mad at me.
Hey, man.
But appreciate meeting you. Appreciate you coming by
pleasure,
Smash
man.
Radio.
Yeah, man.
Doing the podcast and all that.
Hell yeah.
Keeping it 100.
Hell yeah.
I want to see a picture of the John that set your whole life.
Right.
I want to see what she looked like.
Y'all are freaking.
See how bad. I want to see she's still bad.
IG, dog. I know
She's
she
still
on IG.
cold.
I don't even know, dog.
She got you blocked. No.
Nah. This is like 9 years ago. So
You
I
talking
don't know.
about falling into the right shit.
Right.
That's somebody supposed to keep around though.
Right
Really?
shit.
Like Jay-Z said, keep it 100, hit the lottery.
Damn, he's hit it. He got all of it.
Yeah.
Like, shit,
When
who
you get a
else
chick to
you
stop
like,
at Chick-fil-A for you and
no,
to come give you some,
Right.
and you got no
Yeah.
money, you're a
Right.
bad boy.
Yeah. Nah, yeah. I
Congrats.
don't know what I had to offer her, but it was cool.
It's all good. Appreciate it.